Okay, welcome back. The tank is really starting to take off. That Limno Aquatica was literally at the level of the Macandra not even a few days ago, and the Rotala is really growing much faster than anticipated. Um, Still having just a little bit of issue. Unfortunately, the feather duster is smoked. It came out of the aqua soil tank, and as I've mentioned before, it doesn't do well. Plus, I kind of broke it apart and kind of, stressed the roots a little bit. So we're gonna have to find an option for that. And we will. I'm probably going to use Mirio Rama, whatever it's called. Just I used that in 2023 just because I literally didn't have anything, and that's kind of the same situation right now. Again, we did thin out the lily, basically a hard reset, and it shot some shooters or runners rather, and we're gonna clip that off, and hopefully the bulk, the plant will bulk up and get a little bit taller. Rotala's doing nice. Spot dosing went incredibly well. I did miss just a couple of spots, and we're going to hit those today. We are going to swap the street to baby steers, the giant ones, or regular baby steers, not the dwarf. The only issue is the 120 being so terrible. It does have algae, but I think it's going to handle a good spot dose without really wrecking its structure or the leaves themselves. So we'll get it in, get it looking nice, and then we're going to spot dose it and cross our fingers there. Balexia still has just a touch of string algae on it. This has kind of popped up since I bumped the light up, so I did go ahead and bump the light back down, and I'm doing a 1 hour burst, which is like one notch higher than what you're currently seeing. Just to kind of help with the colors, but not keep the tank in that amount of light all day. Macandra doing really well, no algae that I can see. The only thing I'm seeing is that it's falling over just a little bit into the clino. So maybe we have to pull one line of plant out of that side and maybe fill that gap that you can kind of see right there, and this one back here. We'll handle that today, maybe. Clino looking pretty good. I don't really love this shape, but so what? We're kind of locked in. The Hygrophila cherry leaf not growing. It's kind of been the issue, and I'm starting to see like the older leaves are a little upset. So we're gonna look at what we have and what we can do over there. One option is just making that Aquatica just this huge section from the back right over, and maybe putting in another mid-ground plant somewhere somehow that we might have. We'll figure that out, and I'll update you when I shoot the camera tomorrow after we do all our maintenance. The Lucens here, I think it needs to be pulled a touch forward, like literally that much. Gonna be a pain in the butt, but we'll get it done. I'm seeing some Rotala shooting out over here. We'll get that taken care of. There's also a gap in this pogo, which actually looks like it's starting to do what it's supposed to do, but I'm gonna fill in this little missing area, and I think I'm gonna make this street tighter to allow for that when we swap it over to the baby steers, and just get it off the Rotala because it's kind of touching, and get it spread to the left. Pretty much it. Getting some algae over on a few leaves that are in this flow over here. We're just going to cut those off on the Augustinfolia. And fingers are crossed. I think it's looking much better now. I've changed the angle on the camera from a narrow to a more wide view, so you can actually see the tank like it might be in a final shot for a competition. Of course, we're going to reset the limno, get that all down. It's literally growing as tall as the tank in a few days. So that's where we are. Happy with things, and fingers crossing that we're going to make this deadline. All right, guys, we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, all finished up, and the tank does look even more different than it did just yesterday. All right, so we're thinking that the Balexia japonica that we had over on the left side just didn't have enough time to get really big and nice, and we were definitely worried about that. So we had the idea of just adding this SP Red, Balexia SP Red, and it's actually turning out pretty nice. Now, it's not in the best condition, and I'm hoping over the next few days it does get a little more color into it. It does have a little fuzz from the 75. It's pretty low light in there, and it didn't quite like that. So hopefully in here it improves and does its thing. Now, unfortunately, when we added that in right in here, we had this big gap of substrate. And unfortunately, we're going to have to add a 13th plant, and we just had a whole bunch of purple repens, and it's in place now. Color to color, it looks good, like just as far as a pretty tank goes. But for rules, I don't know. We'll have to see what the judges say. For the curtain over here, the only fast option I have, I guess big and tall, is the Limno Wilsonii. So we're just going with that. It's all we have, really. We did adjust the loose ends here, and I think we got it into the perfect position. It's not center. It's a little right of center, and this plant is not quite center, and it's a little left of center, and we have a plant behind it, so it looks pretty nice. It could be better. All of this whole tank obviously could be better, but it is what it is. If the pogo here does not grow in time, we do have some stricta that we tried in this tank that just wouldn't grow, that when we put it in the 75 got beautiful, and it's staying short. It's maybe about this tall, and we can put that in, and it could fill a larger leaf option, which we lack in this tank. So that's an option. If this doesn't look real pretty soon, next 3-4 days, probably we'll make the swap and have that done. I don't want it in the tank too long because all my hygrophila seem to go nasty in this tank. So I guess the conditions just aren't quite right to keep them really nice looking. We'll trim any runnings of, not runners, but any stems that want to shoot up. We'll just trim them off. If we had more time, I would be heavily trimming this plant and keeping a nice shape. So for this tank, it's just going to look a little wild, unfortunately. And with that, it has fallen over into the clino just a little bit. So midweek, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shorten this back out and then get it moved a little bit away. But we're going to keep the same shape as is and just get a little more space in here. The Augustifolia, I think we are going to go ahead and shorten it instead of having it right at the water surface. We're going to shorten it, and we're going to get it a little more towards the front glass. We did put in the stargrass over here. It looks really good. It's being blown by the jet just a little bit. So, in the final shot, all this is turned off, and we'll, just stroke it so it looks like it's fully upright. The Quadica should come forward as the light, grabs it and draws it forward, so it should look nicer. So all in all, super happy with where the tank looks today, considering the year of hell that we have gone through and still going through a little bit with this tank, and the 120 definitely much worse. It's honestly, I don't know, it's, for lack of a better term, it's kind of a miracle we're even right here. We love looking at this tank. This is in front of our couches, and we have a pretty tank to look at right now, even with it not fully grown in. Speaking of fully grown in, I think I'm going to let this one get taller, and hopefully the Nymphea Taiwan over here gets taller, and we'll keep the red a little shorter so we don't have a straight line across, right? We got something higher, something shorter, something higher, something shorter, something higher. It's really going to depend on this one. It wants to get to a certain height and kind of stop and then fill in. So if this one's lower, we'll keep this one higher, and we'll have this one higher than this one, and maybe this one will be a little bit lower, and this is kind of a little bit higher on the stargrass. We'll just have to see. It really depends on what the Taiwan lily does. So all in all, we're super thrilled with where we are right now. We just have a couple more spot dosing areas, especially in the street. I did give it a soak, but I didn't want to get too strong with my mixture. So there is some algae in here because it came out of the 120, and we'll spot dose that. And also, I think this tip, my wife really wants to move it just a little bit to the left, so it's like a little more disappeary in between these two plants. I agree, and we're going to handle that midweek as well when we take care of the clino. So I'll leave you a few minutes. If you have any comments, suggestions, anything about the tank, what could be better, what you don't like, what you like, leave it in the comments. We appreciate it. I will definitely read them and respond. All right, so I'll give you a few minutes just to kind of take it in and, form a better opinion.